Hello, Divine Feminine. I am very happy to be here to do a reading for you today. This is your clarity reading for your Divine Masculine and for yourself. So I'm going to read both of your energies today. Now, you and your Divine Masculine have the same energy, okay? So you and your Divine Masculine do not have separate energy, but this is more about the mindset, I suppose, or the personality of how each one of you interprets that energy. Because an important thing to note with you and your Divine Masculine is that your energy is, of course, the same because you and your Divine Masculine are the same soul, right? So the energy, the basis for this is going to come and stem from the same source. However, the way that you and your Divine Masculine are different is through how the mind or the personality interprets and then therefore reacts to this energy. So this reading is a little bit more toward that. The Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine and why they are perceiving things and then reacting to them the way that they are. Okay. So you and your Divine Masculine have been going through some stuff because that's part of the twin flame journey, right? Is going through some stuff. But this is really your awakening with your Divine Masculine. And so the dark night of the soul, it can feel extraordinarily overwhelming and upsetting. But Divine Feminine, I promise you that this is your blessing, your moment to shine. It feels absolutely like a curse at first. Like, why am I the one going through all this? Why am I the one who's having to experience dark night of the soul? Why doesn't Divine Masculine have to go through any of this? It seems very unfair. Why am I the twin that is being punished? Maybe some of you don't feel that way, but the majority of the Divine Feminines that I speak to do, and I very much did for a long time. I was very angry when I was in the dark night of the soul. I felt so gypped, like I had been, like I was being punished, or, like something had been like very unfairly given to me and then turned around and taken from me. I would say to God, like, why would you give me the experience to feel this way and then just turn around and take it from me? But now I am much further down the road. So if you guys are in the early parts and the early stages of this, hopefully this will help you out, because now that I'm further down the road, I realize that it was an absolute blessing and nothing was taken from me. I was just on the path to being given everything that I wanted. But the universe gives us what we need before it can give us what we want, because we need to be prepared to be able to handle and have the spiritual maturity to be able to create what we want. And so the experiences that we attract in to kind of narrow us down to our bullseye is why we go through the things that we need first. The things that we experience, from point A to point B. From point A is where we start out. Point B is what we want. We have to go through a lot of things that we need in order to prepare us to be able to handle and be able to actually accurately manifest what we want. We're kind of like learning to hit the trajectory, or we're learning to aim and have the trajectory in order to hit the bullseye. Okay, the bullseye is what you want. Anything outside of that, when we hit it, the universe gives us what we need in order to refine ourselves to really be able to get good enough at this whole law of attraction thing and this whole life thing to be able to aim in and hit our bullseye. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck today, we have strength for Divine Masculine and Divine Feminine. The overall reading energy today is strength. And strength is a great card for you guys, because you and your Divine Masculine need to focus on unconditional love, loving yourself first, being able to respect yourselves first and foremost, hone in on the bullseye, and in order to do that, love and forgiveness and knowing what you want and being able to accept yourself and then others first is kind of where that's going to come from. And that's going to give you the inner strength to be able to persevere and push through all of this need stuff that you're getting in order to give you the direction to be able to fully manifest the life that you want. Okay. So this first card, Divine Feminine, this is your energy right here. And I always give you the Merkaba. Okay. The Merkaba is like our vehicle, our ascension vehicle. And Divine Feminine, you are the one who is going through this ascension process. Divine Masculine is going to experience it very differently than you. And that's okay, because you are the positive polarity twin flame, the generative twin flame. That is why the Merkaba belongs to you, okay? So your energy right now is coming from the Five of Cups. All right, you may feel some abandonment, some sadness, some rejection, maybe feelings of not feeling good enough, regret, grief, pain, sorrow. These are all natural and normal experiences to have after you go through your spiritual awakening, your initialization, okay? You've been initiated into this awakening and ascension process. We're all spiritual souls on a spiritual journey, whether we're sleeping or awake. Okay, asleep and awake are references that we use to conscious or unconscious. Someone who hasn't yet gone through an awakening and someone who has. So neither one's necessarily better than the other. Okay, these are just steps in the process from A to B, like I was talking about. And you've gone through that initialization period of boom, you've gone through an awakening. This is why you've met your twin flame. Okay, it's to activate that within you in order to awaken to the true self. And oftentimes this comes in the form of we perceive that we have lost our twin flame, or that we, have somehow done something wrong. We feel abandoned. It brings up all of these programs within us that don't serve us well. These things that have been conditioned into who we are that don't serve us well. And so Divine Feminine, don't be like afraid of this process. Okay, trust the journey, because it is revealing itself to you over a period of time. Okay, it's in a linear fashion. But the outcome is always going to end up being something for you, Divine Feminine, that is getting you closer and closer and closer to the bullseye, what it is that you want in this world. And you're going to self-actualize into that. And that's a beautiful thing. So Divine Masculine's energy right now is Ace of Wands. So Divine Masculine's energy is almost appearing to be quite the opposite of yours, but that's not the case at all. The Divine Masculine may appear to be running from you, and there may be a part of you that thinks, oh my gosh, they are like off doing their own thing and they don't seem to want anything to do with me, and that invokes a bunch of fear in you. And then Divine Masculine almost seems to be going through something quite the opposite. It's like as if they've got this renewed energy and they're, maybe having a relationship, or maybe they're devoting themselves to family all of a sudden in a way that they haven't before, or work. They've got some kind of renewed energy. Do not be alarmed by this, Divine Feminine. This doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. This just means that you have been an absolute inspiration to your Divine Masculine to make change. And this is only happening because you are going through the process of change. And so, the way that the twin flames experience this process, it may be very, very different on the surface level in the 3D world. But under the surface of this, it's the same energy, okay? Because it's one soul, okay? One soul with two expressions in the physical world. Okay, just like this body that I have right now is one body with two expressions of hands, right? And they can have different experiences. This one's holding a card, this one's not. They seem like different experiences, but this body is having both of these experiences simultaneously. It's the same thing for your soul. Okay, it's a simultaneous expression. So, what your soul is gaining from each of these experiences is invaluable information. And eventually, like I said, the two are going to like merge back into this oneness, right? When these polarizations have been neutralized. And so, divine masculine is going to have their fair share of dark night of the soul energy, I promise you. It's just not gonna, it's gonna be kind of like this, okay? And that's perfectly fine. It's a balancing of these energies that's taking place first within each individual and then as one, okay? That's what people will call like physical union. But physical union, it doesn't really necessarily look like anything specific for each twin. It's always going to be different, okay? What we're really aiming towards is inner union. And when you have inner union, then the external world, which is physical union, seems to balance itself out naturally. Okay. So, right now, Divine Feminine, your next card is a representation of what are your blockages right now that you're facing. And for this, we have Ace of Swords. Now, for you, that means that you do have some new ideas, and there is maybe a conflict of like emotional and mental energy right now. Like you're looking for mental clarity, and you might feel like you're being pulled in a whole bunch of different directions. The mind is just reeling, that you may be experiencing a lot of the obsessive thinking that goes along with the dark night of the soul and this twin flame awakening process that you're going through. But don't don't worry about this. Just practice presence. Okay. The key to this, it's so vital. Presence. Presence is going to help you navigate your way through this, because presence is what you are. It's not something that you become. It's not something that you figure out, and it's not something that you attain. Presence is what you are. So tune into that. Your mind is going to go, okay, well, what's presence? Is this presence? Is that presence? Is this presence? That's missing the mark. Okay. Presence is the one who's observing the one that's saying, okay, is this presence? Is this presence? Is this presence? It's that ever silent observer, the consciousness, the witness to the mind. Okay, so hone in on that. And you'll hear a lot of talk about this presence throughout the whole entire spiritual community. And it is an important part of your spiritual ascension. Now, many people come across a spiritual ascension without ever meeting their twin flame. All the divine masculines in the world, they don't even recognize that they've even met their twin flame, right? So, I mean, sometimes maybe eventually they do, but at least initially they don't. So, there's a lot of people out there that go through a spiritual awakening without ever having to, at least they didn't appear to have met their twin flame, but maybe they did. Maybe there's somebody's divine masculine and their divine feminine somewhere out there is going through this process the same way that you are. That's entirely possible, but there's a ton of different twin flame, or not twin flame, but a ton of different spiritual teachers out there that really know what they're talking about, can give you massive amount of extremely important advice. So let this journey and the synchronicities guide you through your own personal discernment and your connection to God. And, presence is something that you're going to hear a lot in these circles, and that's wonderful because it's going to help you. Okay, so look into that. Eckhart Tolle is a expert in this area. So if you've not looked into Eckhart Tolle, listened to his spiritual teachings online, and read his book, The Power of Now, I highly suggest that you do. So your divine masculine's blockages are the sun. Okay. Now the sun is usually a card that represents like, great things. And it does. Okay. But we're here in duality. So if there is a way that you can look at it positively, there's also a negative side, right? The shadow side. If you're looking at something that seems negative, there's also a positive side. And once you understand this universal law, then you really are like, oh, okay, well, if I'm focusing on something negative, how can I transmute this to something positive? And you could also look at positive things like, and recognize that without wisdom, it can actually be something that could manifest in a negative way. One of the things I learned long before my spiritual awakening took place is that, there's two sides to every coin, and our gifts can sometimes show up as like a curse almost, right? Depending on how that manifests. I used to get told all the time, like, oh, you should be, a therapist, or you should be this, or you should be that. And they would think, they would act as if I had done, like, they would act as if I had some talent in a certain area. But then another person would be really, really irritated and upset about these same personality traits, and I would bother them and get on their nerves. And I realized that it all depends on how something surfaces in your life as to whether or not you could call it a positive or a negative. For example, we hear about empaths and narcissists all the time. And we all know that narcissism and empathy are looked at as, good and bad. But we all have both, actually. And sometimes narcissism, self-preservation, can actually benefit us. But it can also become toxic if it's out of balance. Well, nobody looks at empathy that way. But empathy actually can too when it surfaces as people pleaser, or, like being a doormat kind of personality traits. So divine masculine is experiencing some things right now with, material happiness, being joyful, and experiencing the kinds of outcomes and successes that they want. So they're trying to use this creative energy right now to master this, which is a really, really good thing for divine masculine. A really good thing. So this next card right here is kind of where things start to come together for you guys, okay? This is what connects you and your divine masculine. So for this card, we have right here is kind of where you and your divine masculine have connected. Now, this is Three of Wands in reverse. And the interesting thing about this is that you're both experiencing delays and setbacks. You're planning, you both kind of, I guess, have issues around planning. It could be that you guys are a little disorganized and planning is a problem, or both of you are super perfectionistic and very organized, and then that can also be a problem sometimes. It could even create a clash between the two of you. The fact that you guys are so similar in this way. It's sort of what attracted the two of you together. Now, you guys use your discernment on this, because whatever the initial attraction was between the two of you is also, in a weird kind of a way, what is causing this polarization to take place between the two of you as well. So you guys you need to look at this divine feminine and kind of see what is that, and why is that affecting you guys the way that it is. It's kind of like both sides of the coin are there, and in some ways it's positive, and in other ways it's negative, and it's learning to kind of wield that power and recognize, like, how do I create neutrality with this? How do I create a way for this to no longer cause separation and to only kind of cause like a balanced harmony between us? Because one way or the other, too overly focused creates imbalance. And so it's like the infinity symbol. Okay, you've got this torus field over here and this torus field over here, and in the center is harmony and balance. Okay, that's what we want to go for, is the harmony and the balance between you and your divine masculine. So this next card for you guys is a message from Spirit. So this is the advice that is being given to you on how to handle your twin flame dynamic. You guys should focus on friends, family, and a circle of support. Don't feel like you have to be isolated through this. Now, if you need time, especially during the dark night of the soul, to go within and to take a break from everyone, by all means do it, okay? But when people reach out and when you feel the need, when people when God sends people into your world to kind of help you, be open to it. And when you feel the need to reach out to others, do so. Don't feel like you're not important enough or that you need to handle everything on your own. this may be something that you struggle with quite a bit. And friends and family and relationships, networking, being able to rely on others and also be available to them through service to others is something that is extraordinarily healing to all of us. And we all need that. We're all here together. At the end of the day, we're all one. We're all part of each other's family. And your soul family is there to support you as you are for them. Okay. So the outcome between you and your divine masculine, the possible outcome, or where things are kind of going right now between you and divine masculine. And this is a great card for that. Wisdom is where this is taking you. With that wisdom, you'll be able to create the life that you want. See how this woman is coming out of the cocoon. Okay. All the components that make a butterfly are the exact same things that made it a caterpillar. Okay. Nothing was taken away and nothing was added. It was a transformation that took place inside the cocoon. Okay, and so think of the dark night of the soul and this awakening after you meet your twin flame as being in the cocoon. Okay, and maybe even a period of time prior to meeting the twin flame. But you've gone through this transformational process and you are emerging as this beautiful butterfly now. And that is where this is the purpose of meeting your twin flame, which is why this is such a perfect card. I really couldn't have picked a better card for an outcome between you and your divine masculine. Trust this journey, you guys, and recognize that it is a transformational process. And that's exactly what this meeting of your twin flame was always meant to be. It's a transformational process. So trust that when you come to this transformation, that whatever you emerge as and whatever your twin flame emerges as was meant to be. Don't have expectations. When I say don't have expectations, what I mean is don't have expectations of the outcome. Just trust that it's for your highest good. Aim for the bullseye and believe and have faith, because faith is your fortune, that God and your soul are going to bring to you what you want by first giving you everything that you need in order to be able to do that, okay? It is a journey back to innocence that you're experiencing. And so I'm going to pull a quick oracle card for you guys. And let's see what the oracle advice is for you on divine masculine today. I really think this was a great reading. If you guys are interested in a one-on-one or have a question you'd like to email to us, please go ahead and look in the description box below this video. All the information is there for that. Also, today we are launching our group calls on the website. So you guys will be able to sign up for group calls later today. So stay tuned for that. And we will, as soon as we have people signing up for the group calls, we will start them. So they could start as early as next week on Mondays and Wednesdays. I have to tell you guys, this is really amazing. When I was setting up to do this reading today, I put this circle here for a reason, okay? And I was like, okay, this is the one I want to put here because these are the platonic solids, okay? That's what all of these are. And they also represent the chakra. So I decided to put this one here. And when I was pulling the cards out to decide which decks I wanted to use, I decided I wanted to use this Oracle of Ascendance deck because I hadn't used it for a while. And when I opened it up, the cards fell out onto the floor and this one flipped over. And I was like, I've heard about the Yesod and I've also recently heard about the Sephiroth and had been doing a little bit of research into this. And so I thought, well, that's pretty cool. And that's pretty interesting that this fell out onto the floor. And so I thought I'm going to have to look that up later. But I didn't have time. I was trying to get ready for this reading. And so I put all the cards back inside the box. And just now I pulled it out and I shuffled them and just hand shuffled them like I always do. And then I took the bottom card, the one at the very bottom of the deck after I had done this. And of course, it's this card again. Now, when it fell out onto the floor, I thought, that must mean something. I need to look into this card. Now, the second time this card came up. Okay. And so at the time I thought, well, that's so, because I had done this first. And I thought, well, that's so interesting that this card with a big circle on it came out. And I've recently heard about these things. And now I look at this and look at the colors of the card, you guys. It's almost the same. That's such a synchronicity right there. So I don't know what that's going to mean to you guys, but I'm certainly going to look it up afterwards and see if I can understand what the meaning of all of this, connected is. And so now I'm super excited to read this to you because I want to see what this might reveal. So one sec, guys, I'm going to look it up in the book. Okay, so these Sephiroths are part of the Tree of Life. Okay, it's the Tree of Life that has the 12, well, there's 12, but there's also 10 Sephiroth on there. So the Tree of Life has, it's basically a model that demonstrates how the divine descends into this realm and then a path on how we can return back to the divine. So the Tree of Life, it's actually something within you, like physically and on the astral plane and on the spiritual plane. But it is also like a template. Okay. So this is pretty interesting. This is the number 9. It's the Yesod. So the key word for this is foundation. It's the 9th sphere and balances Netzach and Had. It is the base of the middle pillar of the Tree of Life. Yesod rules the realm of cycles and movement, governing things such as time, moon phases, seasons, tidal flows, and reproductive cycles. It also governs the unconscious mind and emotions. It can be viewed as a sort of grand machinery that powers the ordered cyclical functions of the universe. When Yesod appears in your reading, you are asked to balance yourself mentally, spiritually, and physically. Only from this place of balance can you provide yourself with the new and necessary insight to help you achieve and overcome your obstacles. Have your personal cycles fallen out of sync? While nothing can remain constant forever, the stabilizing and grounding foundational energies of Yesod can help you reorder and rebalance your life. All right. Every single time I do these readings, it always just amazes me how these oracle cards end up having something to do with something that we spoke about during the reading. And we talked about balancing and creating harmony within yourself first. And then by default, it will create harmony between you and your divine masculine. And so I think this just comes out as a message from Spirit to confirm that. Focus on yourself, divine feminine. Look and learn and trust and have faith in who you are and your connection to God and to Spirit and to Source. I love you guys. I hope this reading really, really resonates with you. And I'm really looking forward to your divine masculine reading tomorrow. Until then, you guys take care.